Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Anime Soirée. Our seasonal this week is Promised Neverland Season 2. We are covering episodes 5 through 7. We last left off with them in their base, getting attacked by SWAT team looking guys, and then the SWAT team guys getting taken out by a giant demon. And I think overall our opinions on the subject were not not the greatest for those first four episodes. Personally, for episodes 5 through 7, my opinion went much lower. Um, I guess the biggest thing was the time skip, and then kind of a more meta complaint was the recap episode after 5 episodes was pretty lame and out of touch. But yeah, overall, I thought the plot kind of dipped and has very interesting direction, especially what compared to what I've heard about the manga. Um, what did you guys think?
Yeah,
Bad.
I mean, bad. Like it just feels like okay, like basically the context for this is they cut out like a good like a lot of stuff from they're basically speed running the manga is what they're doing. And like it really shows when you have Norm show up, when Norman just shows up like after being gone for like probably like 6 episodes of the show,
Yeah,
and like he just shows back up, and it's like I figured that Norm was going to come back, but I really did not think it was going to be this soon. And like apparently in the manga, like there's like a lot, there's a lot more shit that happens before Norman shows up. So it's like, it feels a little bit more earned. It feels like he feels like he's been gone for longer, and he just shows up. And like not only does he just show up after not being gone for that long, but he also shows up with like all of the answers to their problems. He's like, guys, I know how we can move the plot forward. I have this secret poison that I'm going to administer to every single demon, and by the way, it's happening tomorrow. So like it's like, what the fuck, like this is like not built up at all. And like it just feels it feels like I think that my biggest problem with the first 4 episodes was that it kind of felt like they were being spoon-fed answers. And like I was kind of theorizing like, oh well, maybe what will happen is like it'll all be a trap or something. And like I feel like that obviously is not the case. But I feel like I wouldn't have had so much of a problem with it if like there was more stuff happening in between them having these like little victories, because then it would have felt more earned. And this, like Norm just coming back and having like a way to move the plot forward just out of nowhere is like the ultimate version of that. Like no there's no like struggle, and he just shows up and he's like he has a solution to the demon problem. And it feels like a huge convenience, and it just you can feel, I mean, like, I don't even want to say, I can't even say that you can feel the author like trying to come up with ways to move the plot forward, because it's not even like that. It's just this adaptation is like trying to get through so much so quickly that it needs to do this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, they get to the shelter and you expect them to be, bamboozled, and they were. And then you're like, okay, well, now they have nowhere to go. And now they're out in the forest and they have to survive and they have to, like, make some allies or something. And, that entire process is just completely wiped out. And you know what? They're in another safe house, and it's like, okay, what the fuck was the point of like getting bamboozled in the first safe house if we're just in a new safe house? Um, and it just felt like there was no development in terms of like the world, right? Like that's the biggest one. I'm like, I want to know about the fucking demons. I want to know what their society looks like. I want to know about the farms. I want to know about like, how these kids are navigating this world and like what they're learning about it, because it actually is a pretty decent world that they've built. Not amazing, but I mean a world full of demons that are farming humans, and everywhere you go something wants to kill you. Like that's a pretty interesting premise, and they cut that out, and or a large chunk of it. And especially like, I don't know. It's like, Breath of the Wild, right? This is like a weird comparison, but I'm going to make it. Like the best part of the game is like, when you first start and you have to like get all the shit that's like a baseline stability. You need like to have like enough weapons, enough good weapons, like food. You need to have like potions. You need to get good armor. And like starting from nothing and getting to that baseline is like the most fun part of the game for me. And in the story, it's similar in that they have fucking nothing and they're just trying to get to a baseline of stability. They just need some buddies and some shit and a place to stay. And, we don't get to see that. And, there's a lot of moments for them to develop as characters, get new skills, meet new people. And it's just like, dude, fuck you. I wanted to see that.
Yeah,
And like I think Will was saying like earlier that they're gonna do like flashbacks maybe in a conversation last week, but it's not gonna feel the same. And like
Yeah.
yeah, like I think Kyle was talking about like yeah, like that's the biggest BS. But like this is another personal gripe that I have. Like everything you said, like yeah, fuck that, Kyle. Like so dumb they just have the answer. It's like a 13-year-old kid. It's just like what like a he's like a PhD in chemistry. It's like fuck you.
yeah. I think the biggest thing that Griffin talked about there was like that I 100% agree with was them like the biggest thing in this entire anime is that they're in this world and they're like the classic fish out of water trope and they have to figure it out. And then episode 5 starts with a 1 year time skip. I think it's 1 year and change. And it's just boom. They understand demon society now. They do all this. They know all these things. They're hiding out. They walk amongst the demons and they cover their scent with this herb or whatever. And it's like I wanted to see that. Like that's the interesting part
Yeah.
of a fish out of water story is somebody like coming to understand their surroundings and like their whole drive in the area and just like them skipping past all that and basically saying yeah like the biggest thing with Norman coming back was like him just dropping an exposition bomb being like yeah, so all this really cool stuff happened, and now I'm a leader of this group. And it's like, oh, well, can we see that happen? Like, or
Yeah.
like all these people, like they know all this stuff about demon society. Like, I want to see that. I want to see them coming to that understanding. Like, maybe they lose a kid because they don't have the right understanding, and like they're learning about this society. But we don't get to see any of
Yeah,
that,
how
and
have none of them died?
yeah, exactly. Like that is like that's like one of the biggest things. Like it would take the plot would be so much more like I don't feel scared about the demons very much at all because nobody's died yet or nobody's been
Hmm.
threatened remotely yet. You've got like these scenes
Yeah.
that are like the two kids, the one that looks like Goku and the other kid. They're like oh, let's can we join you on this adventure to like the town? Like we're old enough now, like we can help out. And I'm like, as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, they're being introduced to like cause conflict, like they're it's not gonna go smoothly. And it's just like this very artificial, very easy to predict conflict. And then yeah, back to the Norman thing, like you were saying, like he comes out and he like gives them a solution, and like I said earlier, just drops an exposition bomb about all this cool stuff. I really would have liked to see, and I think they're setting us up for episode 8 to be like that flashback of him in that place. But like, make that a season, like make that season 2 or like half a season, and then it's so much more interesting when Norman comes back because like I feel like that could
Yeah.
be such an emotional moment with these characters, and Norman just coming back after 6 episodes of being gone is like okay, Norman's back, and everyone's crying in the scene, and like I like this is not impactful for me at all.
And like even if they do make it a flashback, it's like we already know how it ends, so there's just already so much less
Yeah.
tension.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna be so much less invested because I already know the outcome of the flashback. So it's like and he basically told me everything. Like if there is a flashback, I mean that would almost be worse just because he basically already told us everything that it would be happening in the flashback in his like exposition dump where he's talking about the like experimental factory and stuff like that. Um, like I don't even necessarily like have a problem with Norman being like the leader of these people and like having this like chemical weapon that he's devised because he was always presented as like the super genius of the group and like they were already like Emma, Ray, and Norm are all really smart anyway, but just like the fact that like we don't get to see it, it just feels like it's not been earned
Charging
because
battery.
like we don't know what circumstances led to this, and it's like I wouldn't even. I'm sure that if I saw it, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but just because it's so sudden and because it's basically just like it's so obviously here, like he just comes back all of a sudden just to move the plot forward.
Also,
And yeah,
also with him coming back, like he's got like a very very different personality. Like it's almost evil Norman. And I think you made a comment like when we were talking about the first few episodes, or maybe it was the first season or something. You were like, "Oh, I if they go evil Norman, like I don't want any part of that. And like I don't think he's quite evil Norman yet, but like the fact that he's only been gone like a year-ish, because like I guess he wasn't gone the entire time, but the fact that he was gone like a year and some change, and he's like completely shifted into this fucking Aaron Yeager type, kill all the demons, like I'm gonna genocide right now, and also got this drug, and he just seems like so different from the Norman that we know. Is like such a big character like change, and that I think it's amplified by the fact that we haven't seen what caused him to change. But like I don't think anybody like, especially because he says like, oh, they didn't actually torture me, they just like, or they didn't uh do experiments on me, they just like interrogated and tortured me or something. So like I don't know, the fact that we didn't see this, and like the fact that it's such a big change in such a short amount of time, just I have to suspend my disbelief way more than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
My one big gripe I have with like this dilemma, right? Where like Emma and Ray and Norman, and they're like, okay, like, well, we want to release the drug. Well, Norman does, and Emma and Ray are like, no, we don't want to do that. And it's like, hey, well, they get to have their opinion on it because they've been here the whole time. I don't get to have an opinion on it as the viewer because I don't even know if the demons are really the bad guys because I've spent very little screen time experiencing them. You know, we've seen good demons, we've seen bad demons, but I have not had enough demon screen time to like have a full fledged opinion. So that just kind of like pisses me off because I feel
Hmm.
like I'm being excluded, by this time skip. And what seems like a huge decision, right? Like to wipe out
Yeah.
half the planet. It's like, well, I'd love to know about the consequences of that and whether or not it should be done, but I guess I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, that's actually kind of an interesting point because I was kind of thinking about this before as to like why they would structure the season in this way. And my conclusion was basically like, well, they probably were thinking like all of the stuff that leads up to this point is like a lot of like survival stuff. And like that's stuff that like I personally like would love to see. Like shit like that we see.
Kyle, you cut out.
Yeah, you cut out.
Kyle, I think you might have died.
Um, But I think I kind of get what Kyle was getting at.
Yeah, no,
He'll
I
he'll be
definitely.
back in a second. Like the demon clothes. Like how do they get the demon clothes? And like
Yeah,
how do they like get the know-how to like just
how
infiltrate the
are they making
city?
these masks and like all that stuff, and like I want to see their first time trying to infiltrate a demon city, and like them learning about like the specific flower or fruit that can mask their scent. Like that's an important plot development, and like maybe they, like I said earlier, maybe they lose a kid because they don't have that scent, and or they lose a hideout because demons track them back with their smell. Like these, like all these little survival things, like are so important. And like we see them struggling with food, and like I feel like that's like a very artificial struggle. I guess they have a plot point that the demons are struggling with food, but like I feel like these people have been surviving on the land for so long, like they should have no problem getting food.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like how the fuck are you guys even alive if you after a year you're still struggling with food? Like
Yeah.
don't how do you not have like a farm or like a system? I don't know. It's
Overall,
ridiculous.
like this season, I mean, it's kind of going back to like the first four episodes, but like it's been such a wishy-washy season and so up and down, and so it just feels extremely random from an episode to episode basis. Like I think the first like two or three episodes with them in the forest was like pretty consistent, but like ever since episode four and then five and then six and then seven, it just seems like so like this is what we're doing this episode. It's something completely different from last episode, and like this is like it seems so crazy. I guess episode 7 and 6 kind of was a bit more consistent, but like it didn't improve it at all. It was a lot of exposition dump and just like Norman with his cronies. I don't know, cronies is not a great word, but it just such a weird feeling, and like I just don't care about the story at all.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the problem when you have like a complicated setting that needs a lot of exposition and then you move at a rapid pace. It's just so much screen time gets wasted on exposition without any actual development within like the setting that you're building up, and it's kind of a shame. Kyle, it looks like you're back.
Yeah, sorry. I must have cut out when I was talking. Um
Yeah, you did.
I don't really remember what I was talking about, but it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, you're mentioning the survival stuff, and I think Griffin and I touched a bit on it, but um, just them learning to survive on the land would have been cool to see.
Yeah. And it's like oh yeah, I remember what I was talking about now. So it's like they definitely like I feel like whoever was designing the season, whoever was like writing the script for it, probably just didn't find that as interesting. And then like what they really cared about was like this like moral dilemma that they're in. But
Yeah.
like by skipping all of that and like skipping all of these like dangerous interactions with demons that they might be having, they're they're like shooting themselves in the foot because they're like robbing that moral dilemma of any weight because we don't like see the demons, we don't interact with them at all we really know about them on whether they can be good or bad is just from what we've heard about them.
Yeah.
So it's just like the worst of both worlds. Like we don't get to see the survival, which is like stuff that I would like to see, and we also like can't really engage with the moral dilemma because we haven't experienced enough to like really have like a a solid footing as to like where we would stand.
Well, at least we get one seasonal that we just get to absolutely shit on every few weeks
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
'Cause the other ones are pretty
yeah.
solid.
Which sucks because like I liked the first season. The first season was good.
Yeah, I don't think I was as high on the first season as a lot of people I've talked to about it, but like I thought it was a pretty damn good show, and like I thought I was very interested to see where they went with it, and like I don't know, based off what I've heard, I think I've talked about with you guys this a bit, but like I've heard that like the writer of the manga is like very big into the anime, like very big influence, and it sounds like what I've heard is like they wanted it to be different, like they wanted the anime to be its own thing, and I guess the choice they had was to skip over all of the manga, or skip over 90% of the manga and go like straight to the end and like change it in that way, which is just a baffling decision. And
Mm-hmm.
like they're like all these situations that are being created, they expect us to have an understanding and a develop like a understanding and a feeling for like these characters, but none of the situations that they're in warrant that because we haven't had the arcs to develop them. And there's like one or two arcs that people like point out specifically like should have like they're there to develop certain characters, and yeah, like as of right now none of the viewers of the anime only have those arcs to draw on and like those experiences with those characters, so they just don't care. Like you just can't care about these situations at all. It's
Yeah.
just absolutely bewildering.
Yeah. I was kind of like after the first season, because the first season was so kind of like self-contained as just like we have to escape the farm, and they did. They escaped the farm at the end. Like knowing that there was going to be more, I was skeptical. I was like, I'm unsure of like how the intrigue and like how they're going to keep it up, considering that like they're moving into such new territory and like the entire first season was structured around a goal and they achieved that goal. So I was skeptical about the second season. But this is like so much worse. It's not only that like the premise of the second season is like bad, it's just that like the execution is like so much worse from season 1 that it's like how can I care? How
Yeah.
can I care? It's
Oh, I mean,
Also, oh, go
I
ahead.
guess the
Sorry.
mom. I was just gonna say the mom is back, and it's like okay, like yeah, she was kind of cool, but I don't know, just don't care what you guys are saying. Like, I think there's like interest, like this, like the Dean, you know, like there's things I want to like about it. Seeing mom have the because we do know mom and they have a relationship. So I guess to say I would be looking forward to their interaction, their eventual conflict. That is a plot point that I am interested in seeing is mom trying to stop the kids and collect the kids. I would be interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just one point of goodness.
Um, Another big thing, season one and even going into season two, like Ray is a good character, and like these last four episodes, the last three episodes, like what has he done? Like he's just standing there making snarky comments, saying I don't agree with you, Emma, but I'll go along with it. Like that's literally all he's done. Like I'm like, come on, fucking do something. Like I guess he like distracts the demons with Emma, where they, I guess, have insane parkour skills now. They're like running on the rooftops like fucking Ezio Auditore.
Charging
Bro, they played
battery.
tag. That's
Yeah,
how
they
they got those
they played
skills.
tag, I guess, but besides like that one chase, which was outlandish, Ray has literally done nothing. Like it's just been the Emma show and like Emma's conversations with Norman, and it's just like I guess the other kids don't really do anything either, but it's just I don't know. None of the characters are doing anything in these last three episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like out of character for Ray because I think that Ray the entire first season was presented as the he was like the most practical out of all of them. Like where Emma was like really idealistic, Ray was like a lot more cynical about how things would go, and like he was like a lot more willing to like sacrifice people so that the people that he really cared about could escape. Um, and like we haven't seen any of that. Like I feel like this would be a perfect time for Ray to kind of be a point of contrast for Emma to basically say like, look, I think Norman's actually kind of onto something
Yeah.
because we're in a situation where we're like faced with these insane odds and like we have a solution that we can take. It might not be like the best possible solution, but it's like a solution is better than like no solution, which is like our other option. So I feel like this would be a great time for Ray to like kind of revisit that aspect of his character, which is like what made me love Ray in the first season. Um, but it's like it just doesn't feel like that part of his character has been validated at all because there it doesn't like there's just like no stakes. Like the first season had such high stakes, but it just doesn't feel like there's any stakes in this season, and that's what makes like that part of Ray's character just like not like it's not coming into play anymore because there's not like any times where they're like, oh, we might need to like risk people in order to achieve this thing. Like that's just like not an element of the show anymore.
Yeah.
One more small minor detail, but something I really wanted to bitch about was the mention that I think it was a conversation between Ray and Norman, and they were talking about like the power structure of the demons, and they were saying like, "Oh yeah, the top demons, they control the economy of and blood
Yeah, there's like
and
wealth
meat."
disparity in the
It's
demons.
just like, dude, fuck you. Like, I don't need another thing telling me like capitalism is bad. Like, I know it is. Okay, like have a unique like ecosystem for the demons. I don't want to hear another boring like Hunger Games type like situation. Like incorporate like the demons' religion, their specific culture into their government structure. Like maybe like the strongest demon like kills all the other demons in like a battle or something. Not fucking boring ass capitalism where they just control all the meat and so they eat meat and they get strong and then that they decide who gets the meat. It's like, okay, fuck you. It's just so boring and so lazy, and it's like, yeah, okay, like they have
They're
to
just
have a
like
structure.
humans. They're like
Yeah, they're
humans
just
with a different coat of paint,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's just so boring.
and they have to eat humans. They're just like they're not a distinct culture really.
Yeah. Um, oh, also with the weapon or the drug, I guess that Norman develops, like they want us to like, I think they want us to sympathize with Emma. Like, you can't do some horrible thing to genocide the demons, or else you're no better than them. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like being able to see this drug in action on like a single demon would like give us such a better mindset of how like if this drug really is horrific. Like, if they show this drug like basically torturing a demon till the demon died, like making like sucking the life out of a demon and like some horrific death for a demon. Like that would make the reader or like the viewer empathize so much more with Emma, and like it would be a more of a point of contention with her and Norman. But like so far we have no idea how this like it says like it it turns them into like a feral demon or something like that. And like
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't mean anything because we haven't seen it in action. And I feel like showing us that would give us such a better grasp of the situation and allow us to empathize with either Norman or Emma, depending on who you are, um, in that whole like conflict between them.
Yeah, like right now, I feel like Emma is being completely ridiculous,
Yeah,
and I am 100% Team Norman
yeah,
because the demons are eating people.
yeah,
That just like literally, how can you? We are in a like the humans are in a self-defense situation. They need to act now to like ensure the survival of like their entire species and their lives. Like I think that Norman is completely justified in wanting to. It's not even genociding the demons. It's just like turning them into a state where they wouldn't be smart enough to eat humans. Like that seems like totally fine. And like
oh,
yeah, like some of them would end up dying because of that, but it's not a full-on genocide. And I mean, that's like on the table in other shows that we're discussing. So Like
Also, we
this
got
doesn't seem that bad.
we got backstory with Mujika and her being the evil-blooded girl, I think is what her name is.
Uh-huh.
And like they give the backstory of her being like this demon that doesn't transform back into humans because if and she can also give her blood to other demons so that they don't transform back if they don't eat humans. And like such a great plot point and like very convenient that that Mujika is this answer, but also like they explicitly say like the demons understand this person and like the power of this person and the fact that this is a great way to get around having to eat humans and maybe as a way to heal the world so it's not two halves and like maybe humans or maybe demons don't have to eat humans but the demons explicitly like rounded up all these demons all these like not human eating demons and like the evil blooded girl and like killed them so like the demons in this universe have had a very great way to get out of what they're doing and like this human eating problem and they refused it. They went away with it. And like that just takes away all sympathy I have for the demons because they have such a good way of getting out of it and they just turned it down. And
Yeah.
like
Well, they kind of explained it a little bit with what I was talking about. It's just like the demons in power are just like they want to control everyone's, I guess, life, survival,
I guess.
money. I don't know, and by doing that, they would lose a portion of control because they don't they control the meat and like it's like if the government controlled our water
Yeah.
and how much water you got. I'd be like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
I
but
need
also
water.
with Norman, like this might be the direction they're going. Norman is this apparently PhD chemist, biologist, and he can mass produce and develop these drugs to affect the demon's physiology. So
Oh my God.
why does he want to just kill Mujika if her blood is so valuable? Like, why not take her blood and make a super drug that transforms all the demons? And I think that might be the way they're going with it. But like,
I think that's probably going to be it.
why is his gut reaction to
It's
kill
just too
her?
convenient for it not to be.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can kind of see it because, like, for example, we do not need to eat meat.
Yeah.
Like, vegans exist, and we choose not to be vegans. So I kind of feel like even if all of the demons were in a state where they didn't need to eat humans to survive, they would still eat humans, you know? So I don't know. I think that like Norman's it makes it's justified that he doesn't want to like find a solution that involves making them not dependent on humans because they could still eat humans even if they're not dependent.
But like,
But I
Also,
could I could definitely see that being the plot that they go with. Just but if they do go with that and they don't address that issue that like they could still eat them even if they're not dependent, I will be disappointed,
yeah.
more disappointed than I already am.
But like, if he managed to make all the demons in the world not dependent on eating humans, and then they can move forward with a plan to get rid of the farms, and like, because if you're like raised in a world, so like, say you're raised in a vegan world where there's no beef or chicken or anything, like you're not going to have the craving to eat that. You're not going to know what that tastes
Yeah,
like. You're not going to have any desire to eat that. So like it wouldn't be some instant solution, but like if they got rid of the farms and like sent all the humans back to the human world, like that seems like a decent solution. And like it's not like an instant thing, but
but
yeah,
money will.
yeah, money.
They
People
need
are,
the money.
yeah.
money.
God, poopy show.
Yeah. And I feel like this show could be good. It's like not even that like this show is doomed. It's just that they made some really, really baffling decisions. And honestly, it sounds like all of the problems are just from adapting it. Like it seems like if they just hadn't decided to speed run it,
Yeah.
then we would like it is insane. Like what were you saying, Will, that they like one chapter covered like 30 or one episode covered like 30 something chapters because
Yeah.
it just had like a couple scenes sprinkled out from
The
those 30
video I was
chapters.
watching was like the first two chapters was like, or the first few episodes was like 13 chapters, which is already like extremely fast for an adaptation. And then it was like the next three episodes were like different parts taken from like chapter 50, chapter 80, chapter 90, chapter 120 or something like that. It's crazy. And then
Yeah.
episode 5 just jumps to the like one of the last few arcs of the manga. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
feel
feel
like
like,
literally any manga would be horrible if you tried to adapt it
yeah,
like
I
that.
agree.
No way.
And I think if the author of the manga wanted this to be different from the anime, like why not allow the anime to adapt what's already like happened up to that point and like grow that audience and like then you get to this arc that we're in right now that we skipped over everything else and then change it. Like if you want Norman to
Hmm.
do something different or have different motivations or a different plot device needs to be inserted, like insert it after we learn all this other stuff and like after we've already cared about the characters. Cuz like I don't know, it just baffles me just syncing your anime so fast with such a stupid decision.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Yeah,
It's
No
unique.
one's done it before.
for good
No
reason.
one's no one's intentionally made a shit adaptation before.
No one has intentionally gone against the pinnacles of storytelling to single-handedly destroy an interesting story like ever
Yeah.
before.
Brendan,
It's a genius move.
Genius, truly three-dimensional or
genius.
four-dimensional chess.
Was there anything else you guys wanted to shit on? I think I'm kind of gassed on ripping on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until I
I
think the next episode will be our last because it's 4 episodes and there's 11 total and we're on 7. So next episode should cover 8, 9, 10, and 11. And yeah, uh,
well, my only hope for the show is that Phil comes back and saves the entire production.
yeah.
But other than that, I don't see an avenue for salvation.
Oh, I mentioned it earlier, but a recap episode after 5 episodes of a season, like fuck you. What are you? What are you? Fucking 80 years old? Your memory's fucking garbage. Like that's like an anime from like the mid 2000s would do, and like I feel like they wouldn't even do that. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, how out of touch are you with like modern anime? Like you have to like it seems like they were just like, oh fuck, let's change the story really quick, but we need another week to get this episode out. Fucking throw together a recap episode really quick so we can get this episode out the next week. It's like Jesus,
Yeah, it definitely seems lazy.
extremely lazy.
Get ready for your weekly recap episode, actually.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's just every week. They never actually progress. It's just always recapping.
Could be good.
Could be good. All right. I think that's it for me.
All right, yeah.
Yep.
Next week we are doing Attack on Titan, right?
Is there
All right.
Cool.
See you next week.
follow us on YouTube, on Twitch, on Spotify, and Twitter.
And Tweeter.
And do it now, or I'll get you.
Yeah. I'll wait.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
Catch you later.